Have you ever wanted to make the perfect thing for barbecue, or just because you love barbecue chicken, or just because you want to eat this with a side of spaghetti, or because you just love everything about this idea? Here it is. Oh my God. Find out how to make it. Let's. Hello. All right, so I found an old nifty recipe for smoky barbecue buns, and I'm gonna be making that. And yes, it's as fun as it sounds. Smoky barbecue buns. So what I've got here is I got 1 1/4 cups of water, to which I've warm water, to which I've added 1 tablespoon of sugar. I have 2 egg yolks, 2 egg whites, 3 cups of flour, about 3 1/4 cups flour actually, and then I have another, obviously like 3/4 cups, so possibly to make 4 cups. I have to see how that goes. I have some barbecue seasoning. I'm gonna be using about 2 to 3 teaspoons, and I actually have, let me see, I should have left it out. The rib rack sugar free, but I diluted this a little bit with just some more onion powder, some regular paprika, and a little garlic powder, just because I didn't want too much of that chili style flavor. I'm gonna be filling the buns with barbecue chicken. So, but if you wanted to just use any kind of barbecue seasoning powder that you wanted, you can do that. I have 1 tablespoon of softened butter, and I have 1 1/4 teaspoons of liquid smoke. So the first step is gonna be to add the yeast. This is such a great yeast. Add the yeast. Just grab this. Get the yeast mixed in. Kind of self-explanatory here. Just add the yeast in. And then in a few minutes, I'm gonna add, out of the 1 1/4 teaspoons of the liquid smoke, I'm gonna add 1/4 of the teaspoon to this mixture, to the liquid mixture, and then we'll get back to it. So that's it. Right now, I just wanted to introduce you to the smoky barbecue bun and its beginnings. All right, I want to make sure. Yeah, let's see. Yep, that's it. Can't think of anything. Sometimes I turn the camera off and I'm like, oh, but wait. No, I'm good. So we've got it. We've got the flour. I'm reserving 3/4 cup, the 2 egg whites, the 2 egg yolks, the 1 1/4 teaspoon liquid smoke, 1 tablespoon butter, barbecue seasoning. I'm going to end up using about 2 to 3 teaspoons, the 1 1/4 cup warm water with 1 full package of yeast, and then we're gonna put it together. All right, my yeast looks like it's definitely active. I'm gonna be putting this in the refrigerator for a while, so it does not have to be fully active. It can activate in my dough. All right, let's see how I do this. So I'm gonna just get 1/4 teaspoon of this and put it right in my yeast. I'm also gonna add my eggs. I've also reserved 1 tablespoon of the egg whites, and that's gonna be to finish the buns at the end. with the rest of the liquid smoke. So we could just put this to the side. I'm gonna add the egg whites. I'm gonna give that a good stir. I had a great weekend with my grandchildren. They are always so fun. Okay, got that. So, should I measure it or should I just eyeball it? Let's see. You guys can see me measure through this. I've got 1, 2, 3. I think I'm gonna go with 4. 4 teaspoons of the barbecue seasoning powder. Smells yummy already. Then I'm gonna add the butter. Just work that in. Oopsie. Oopsie. Okay, good enough. Just kind of want to get the fat incorporated. It's only a tablespoon to, like I said, potentially 3.5 to 4 cups of flour. Okay, now I'm gonna make a well and I'm gonna incorporate it just like I'm making pasta. It smells so barbecue-y. Very fun recipe. You can make these buns without having to fill them. Like I said, I'm gonna be filling them with barbecue chicken, but you can serve them just as a bun or a roll. Okay, I'm gonna add a tiny little bit of flour just because I'm looking at my egg mixture and I could see that I might need it. I'm gonna go ahead and add the whole thing. If I need more flour, I will add it. Just incorporate it. You want to form a stiff dough. Okay, so I'm gonna add the whole entire 4 cups. It's been very humid here. All right, I'm gonna keep mixing. I'm gonna have to get into it with both hands, but as you can see, it's gonna be stiff. That's what I want. I want it to be a bun. Let me work it in with my spoon and my hands and I'll show you where we're at in a few minutes. Well, that was easy. I just mixed it as quickly as that. Oops. And look, nice and stiff dough. Not too dry because we still want moisture in it. If it's too dry, it's never gonna get more moist. So unless you want like a cracker, you don't want your dough to be too dry. I'm gonna roll it out onto a floured surface, knead it just a few minutes, and maybe I'll show you the kneading part. But let me just do a quick kitchen cleanup here on the counter so I have enough room to put it out and knead it. Okay, my baby's out of the bowl. This guy is so soft. He's so soft and pliable. I always taste my doughs. I didn't add salt to this dough. I did use salted butter, but my point being that if you wanted it to be a little saltier, you could. I'm gonna have a very seasoned barbecue chicken stuffing. This dough is a little bit more on the sweeter, smoky barbecue side, which makes this recipe so fun. I can feel all that moisture, not in a bad way, in a nice, pliable, moisture-filled way. I'm gonna add just the smallest bit more flour. I forgot to mention that I used bread flour for this. For my dusting flour, I'm just using, so I use King Arthur organic bread flour, and I'm just using all-purpose King Arthur organic flour for dusting. You can make this recipe with all-purpose flour. It's like a little baby. You're my little baby. Okay. All right. That's it. That's as much kneading as I'm gonna do for now. So I've got my ball. I'm gonna put this in here. I'm gonna cover it. And I'm gonna put it in the refrigerator, and I'll let you know how long I let it rise in the refrigerator. I've got two whole air-chilled chicken breast, and I'm going to, now you could poach these in an aromatic broth, but I'm gonna chop this up. I'm gonna use the rest of my seasoning, that dry barbecue powder. I'm gonna season it even more than that. But step one, get this all chopped up, because I'm gonna go ahead and cook it in just the little tiniest bit of water and barbecue sauce and seasoning and brown sugar. Okay, here's my chicken all cut up. So to my chicken, I've added 1 tablespoon of onion, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, 1/8 teaspoon of black pepper, a teaspoon of avocado oil to marinate, I think 1 teaspoon of Cavender's. Let me see, let me try to find it. All right, here it is. This Cavender's all-purpose Greek seasoning. This is just like a multi-purpose kind of a meat sauce. You can omit it. 1/8 teaspoon of Morton's all-purpose seasoning. That could be substitute in America by something like Lori's. But basically, this is just a pre-seasoning. I'm trying to not make it too salty because I don't want it to draw out any moisture from my chicken. All I'm trying to do is season it aggressively, because like I said, it's gonna be the filling for the barbecue buns. And wait until you see how much it's risen. Boy, even in my super cold refrigerator, it's very active. I'm gonna have to punch it down. So I wanna get this just highly seasoned. Oh, I'm so sorry. And I added 2 tablespoons of that, that barbecue seasoning, the dry barbecue seasoning. So hold on, should I take you with? Okay, let's see, where is it? So this I added 1 tablespoon of this, and then the remaining barbecue seasoning that I had when I told you I added some of that with a little bit of onion and garlic and all that. The only last thing I'm gonna do to this is add a few drops of liquid smoke, and I'm gonna take 1/8 teaspoon from the reserve that I had, which I have to track it down, so hold on a minute. Okay, found it. Just a few drops, 1/8 of a teaspoon. Boom. Okay. Add that liquid smoke. Just even the little bit of salt that's in here is going to start getting this chicken. It's air chilled, that's why it looks, you know, not so juicy. I like that because it's going into a bun, and I want to eliminate as much of that liquid inside my bread as possible. But I'm using this butter knife. Don't ask me why. Guess it does the job. Mix it in well. I'm ultimately also going to be adding some light brown sugar and some barbecue sauce. I'm not going to add that yet. I don't want to denature my meat, and by that I mean if you add salt or sugar, like if you leave your turkey or chicken in a brine too long, it can start changing the texture of the meat, so it's more like ham. It's not quite the mouthfeel that I'm looking for here. I just want to get it aggressively seasoned so that when you bite into that barbecue bun, it's just a lot of deep, intense, complex flavors. Okay, keep mixing, keep mixing. You could add a little bit more paprika if you want at this point. Like I said, I'm not going to because I still have a lot more seasoning to do. I'm gonna let this sit in its dry seasoning for a couple of hours, maybe more. Depends on how my afternoon is playing out. And then I am going to cook it. I'll get back to that. At that point, we'll see how we cook it with the barbecue sauce, how it looks in a few hours. And then also, I'm gonna bring you back in just a few minutes to show you how that beautiful barbecue bun bread is looking. Look at how beautiful it is. Let's see if you can see the side. It's just so poofy and lovely. You're so poofy and lovely. Boop. Look at that. Just, it smells so barbecue-y and wonderful. Nice, and look, no. I'm just gonna break it down, break it on down. I'm just gonna do a quick punch down to redistribute some of the gases and the yeast. It's really ice cold. You could just tell by how frosty my bowl is. This is a lovely active yeast. Smells really great. Okay, I'm just gonna give it a quick, I'm probably gonna do a quick counter cleanup and then just do a quick knead and then get it back in the fridge. I'll show you right before I pop it back in my fridge. Okay, that's it. It's really, really hydrated and heavy. Hydration is max. So instead of me putting this in flour, I just put a little oil. I'm using avocado, good quality avocado oil. And I don't want to keep adding flour because little by little it's going to start taking the hydration out, and I want that. So I want my buns to be nice and fluffy and moist. Okay, I'm gonna cover it and I'm gonna put it back in the refrigerator. So it's been about, I don't know, 2.5 hours now. It's still looking a little lumpy and clumpy, but we still have some ways to go. I'll let you know when we get to the cooking the chicken part and also the second rising of this wonderful barbecue buns. Okay, I'm just about to cook the chicken and I decided to weigh it. So 675 grams. And to this chicken, I'm also adding a US, sorry, hold on, I had to reach a little bit. A US half cup of mixed red onion or purple onion and peppers. I have some pimento style peppers and some green bell pepper or capsicum. This is completely optional. You literally can omit this. Another interesting note is despite all that mixing I did, look, there's still a little seasoning and look at these little bald spots. This has been marinating for at least 45 minutes. So it goes to show you we can't over mix. So I have my cast iron skillet going. Hold on, I'm wondering if I should just, let's see if I can scale. Let me try to scale this out just to see how much pepper mixture. All right, hold on. How much pepper mixture I'm adding. 77 grams of mixed peppers. All right, so I have a cast iron skillet going. Use the pan of your preference with a little bit, I'm using avocado oil, and it's time to start cooking the chicken. Let's get to the stove. Okay, let's start with the pepper. If you're not using any of this, omit. We'll start off when I do the chicken. Okay, that was relatively quick. I think I sauteed those peppers for just about a minute or two. I don't want it too cooked. The reason I'm using a small pot is because one, I want to continue to season it and I don't want it to evaporate. I don't want to lose any of the moisture really. I want to cook it perfectly. This is not like a grilled type chicken. I want to get it done just perfectly. And another thing, you can see how small the peppers and the onions were. I just want them to dissolve right into the sauce. I want to get this perfectly cooked, but I don't want to take it 1 second past that. Because I don't want to have dry chicken inside of my barbecue bun. See how it's turning from translucent to opaque? I'm going to turn the heat up from low to high now. I have to turn the phone off because unfortunately it's getting hot. Okay, just like that, it's off the stove. I'm going to transfer this into this container so we can start seasoning it. As you see, look at that, like the juice is coming out a little bit. That's fine. It's fine, but it's not fine. Okay, let me look at it a minute. All right, let me add it to this pan and then we'll look at it. Okay. Whew. Super hot. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do, I tasted it, I have not added salt. I'm gonna add 1 teaspoon of sea salt. I'm gonna add 1/3 cup of packed light brown sugar. Add as much as you want or need. You can omit that step altogether. I'm thinking I'm gonna add at least a tablespoon more of this barbecue seasoning. And we're gonna mix. Okay. I'm paying attention to the liquid. The sugar is gonna add to the liquid. And why I'm looking at this is because I might have to add a little bit of potato starch just to make sure that my filling doesn't bleed out. Okay, just still mixing. I bought some, well, I didn't buy any. My kids get takeout and they bring these disposable spoons. Let's try a little of this meat. Okay. So far, so good. The next step is to add barbecue sauce. I'm gonna add 1/2 cup of your favorite barbecue sauce. This is honestly flavorful enough with all the smoke flavor, with all the peppers, with the barbecue seasoning. I'm gonna take it a step further and then we'll look at it. I'll show you when I add the barbecue sauce. I gotta measure it out. Okay, I decided on 1/2 cup of your favorite barbecue sauce. I'm gonna get my rubber spatula, scrape all that out, and then we'll mix. Okay, I just tasted it and I added about 2 more tablespoons of light brown sugar, and I'm gonna add just a sprinkle more of seasoning salt. I can't get it out. Why? Because if you season over your pan, the moisture comes into your seasoning, and then it clumps it. All right, so I'm gonna add about another, I'm gonna say 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Sometimes, you know, you're like trying to season right into your hot dishes, and then that steam goes into your seasoning container and all that moisture clumps up your seasoning. Okay, that looks great. All right, this looks wonderful. Okay, it's the next day. That took a minute. Anyway, I found the original recipe. It's called Smokey BBQ buns, which I knew that was the name. And it is from a 1963 version, copyright of the Pillsbury Family Cookbook. And this particular recipe, if you're looking for it, is under chapter 14, outdoor cookery. I have a huge collection of old cookbooks, but they have lots of fun recipes. Sometimes I just sit around and look through them. Okay, I just wanted to address that. So now here's the dough. It's super cold. You can see that here on this little area here, it started to like kind of I don't want to say overproof, but it proofed and collapsed on itself. And I just took it out of the fridge. I'm gonna let it kind of sit, and here's that chicken. It smells, oh boy, if you could smell this, you'd cook this right now. Let me grab a spoon. This marinated all night. I ended up making wonderful spaghetti for dinner. So I think I'm gonna add, starting with 1 tablespoon of potato starch. You can add cornstarch. If you added flour, I would recommend you cooking this. Okay. With one hand, I'm trying to open up my package of potato starch. Okay. Let's see. Let's look at it. 1 tablespoon. And like I said, the purpose of this is when my bun is baking, I want it to be moist and juicy, but I don't want it to be wet. Oh, this is going to be so good. This is still extremely cold, frosty even. Look at that. Okay. So this is where I have to decide how much more I think it's gonna need. Why don't I add another, so 1.5 tablespoons is what I'm gonna go with. You don't have to do this. I've just found that adding that additional bit of a light starch like this when you're making buns or steamed buns or dumplings, it just helps to get that together. Okay. I'm gonna let all of this sort of sit at room temperature. The next thing I'm gonna deal with is punching down the dough. We're gonna punch down the dough, and then I'm going to turn this into 12 equal, more or less equal size chunks. I'm gonna take this to my, I don't know, maybe I'll do it in the kitchen, I guess. All right, let me do a quick kitchen cleanup. Take my book out of here, move my starch, do a quick counter cleanup, and then we'll get back to making the 4 portions. It's gonna make 12 portions, not 4. You could turn this into bigger buns and then turn it into maybe 8 entree size buns. I'm gonna keep them small because they're just gonna be kind of a side. Have some spaghetti left, and maybe my husband will eat them as a side. I doubt it. He's probably just gonna want this for dinner. So it's between some leftover spaghetti, some barbecue buns, which I will send with him for lunch regardless tomorrow, and possibly tacos. My daughter bought a bunch of stuff for tacos, so I've got all this yummy food going on. All right, kitchen cleanup time. I'm gonna, I just got this into like a little tube. I'm going to make each piece, the 12 pieces, approximately 63-ish grams or so. All right, this is what all the pieces look like once I scaled them out. They're approximately between 63 and 64 grams each. So all I do to begin with is kind of pinch them, get them into kind of a round ball with the seam side down-ish. All right, so now I've got all these beautiful, cold, tender little buns going to put them on, moving them to the side because I'm going to put them on a piece of wax paper. And like I said, they're still, I don't want to say frozen, but dang, they're just about. So I've got a dozen here. I'm going to add, I just tasted this right before I started the camera, and I think it needs literally maybe a sprinkle, 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. I'm going to go ahead and add some Morton seasonal. That's just any variety of a seasoning salt. A regular salt will do. Just gonna put it in my hand here because you know, that's the same salt that I said if you season over a hot stove or a steaming pot of something, and then your seasonings will have a tendency to clump. Okay, that's it. Other than that, the sweetness is lovely. If you like a really sweet, savory barbecue sauce, you could add a touch more sugar. I don't need it. It's perfect for my use. Okay, let's get these little buns on something so that they don't stick. Once they start rising again, I could run into a stickage, how do we say? Sticking issue, stickage issue, stickage. That's a tongue twister. Stickage issue, which I don't want to. And I don't want to flour them anymore. Like I said, I am no longer wanting to take any moisture out of them. They're really beautiful. They're super moist. I could feel all the moisture in them. And I don't want to dry them out, even though, yeah, they are gonna have this, but I want them to be nice, light, plump, and moist. So I'm gonna move everything out of the way. I'm gonna get some wax paper, and then we are going to let them do one last more little mini proof. I'm gonna roll them out, and then I'm gonna let them proof with the filling in them. I'm gonna preheat my oven to 400 degrees while all that's happening, but I'm gonna take you along through all that. Aren't these cute? Boop, 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 boop. So cute. All right, I couldn't save that one. It was too slippery and weird, but this is what it should look like. Once you fold it over, it should be nice and dry. You want to make sure to pinch off any little places where your filling could seep. There could still be some seeping out of the filling, but that's okay. And then gently, the same method, but a lot more gentle this time. We're trying to get it nice and taut. Okay, and then always put it on your baking sheet seam side down. All right, I'm hoping to redeem myself. All right, let's see. I'll film it from this direction. That might shadow it a little. So what you're trying to do, I just rolled it out wider. Oh no, maybe I won't redeem myself. All right. Get that over, pinch. So what you're trying to do, but at the same time, remove the air pocket. Remove the air pocket. And then gather without letting any of the sauce out. Gather, gather. It's okay if there's a little bit, you know, you want there to be a little bit more bun on the bottom. Because one, you want the filling to heat. Okay, and then gently roll. Gently roll. All right, let me add it to the other. Here they all are, all 11 of them. So I'm gonna just let them come to temperature. They're already, you see, they've almost doubled in volume. You can see all that barbecue seasoning right in that dough. Then I'm going to glaze them and I'm gonna put them in the oven. I'm also gonna let you know how much filling I had left over. I'm gonna measure that. But for now, here they are. They look a little bumpy because that's all that chicken meat. I was trying to get as much in as I could. So you can see all that chicken. If you see, that's like chicken popping out, which is good. We love meat stuffed. Time to glaze. A quick glaze of our egg white and our liquid smoke. You want to make sure that everything is well egg washed, not just for the color, but like I said, for the new refreshment brightness of the liquid smoke. Okay, that's my timer. That little mistake ended up being the most delicious little flatbread. We ate it, so I can't show it to you. Okay, my finishing touch is just adding this wonderful red Alea salt from Mountain Rose Herbs. What a quality, delicious company. So it's red because it's sea salt and red clay. It's really smooth, just tastes like it looks. And then when it comes out, which I'll deal with that at that point, I'm gonna put it in the oven now for 10 minutes. I'm gonna check it in 10 minutes. I think it's probably gonna go closer to 12 minutes, 12 to 14 minutes. I'm cooking mine on a ceramic type clay baking dish. I think I would be really careful if you're cooking it on metal. Maybe check it after 10, but we'll look at it together and see. So now it's going in the oven. I'm gonna set my timer for 10 minutes and my oven has been preheating at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 20 minutes, so it's good and hot. Don't these look pretty? I love all of you, and you're all gonna be delicious. When they come out, I'm gonna put butter and some additional barbecue seasoning on. Okay, so I'm gonna take some of the measurement off because my daughter decided to put some of this on her spaghetti, which looks great. What is this called? Cowboy spaghetti?
Barbecue chicken and beef. It smells great.
It's great. All right, so that's it. I think that was probably just a couple of tablespoons. Okay, the leftover chicken, minus a little bit my daughter used, came out to 268 grams. This would definitely make 2 lovely little sandwiches or wraps, or whatever you wanted it to be. The 25 is the weight of the container that I zeroed out. There she is, Mrs. America's. Fresh out of the oven. They took exactly 15 minutes. So now I've got my butter melted. I gotta get through this really quickly. I have my barbecue seasoning waiting. Let's just start coating these babies. Okay, I kind of already did all of them, but I didn't want, if you wait too long, the butter doesn't penetrate. But so that's it. Just did it this quickly. They came out, I did that. They're still sizzling. don't know if you can hear it, but it's still really hot. The seepage is to be expected, even if you do a really great job. But I think it adds personality to the buns when you serve it, and guaranteed in my house, they're probably gonna, the bursted ones, with a little of that extra meat caramelization are probably gonna be the first to go. We want lots of butter. Okay, now it's time to sprinkle on the barbecue sauce. For all of this, I used about just a little over 2 tablespoons, and I want to use all of it. Okay. That's just going to, over time, just make them so scrumptious. Okay, time to add the barbecue. Using the same spice rub. I'll put it in my hand so it's easy to sprinkle on. Put as much or as little barbecue seasoning as you want. You could also brush on some barbecue sauce. You could have put this in the barbecue, in the butter when you were brushing it out. All right, the last thing I'm gonna do is just kind of go over it and make sure that everything has a little barbecue seasoning around. You can even go in those barbecue juices. And the butter. This is a barbecue bun after all. You want it to look appetizing and barbecue-y. All right, it's time for a taste test. Let me just let them set up a little bit and kind of absorb all that butter. Then we'll taste one. I open, not the ugly duckling, you're beautiful, of the group. Oh boy. Now I know why Pillsbury wants this to be a bun and not, so this is just a beautiful barbecue-y, delicious. Let's taste it. Ten out of 10. 12 out of 10. Okay. 15 out of 10. I don't know what else to say. Y'all better make this. This would be the perfect thing for a picky eater. Take this to a barbecue and you're golden. To die for. To die for. Chicken stuffed barbecue buns. Really. Okay. Now my daughter wants one. I couldn't help myself. I added a little fresh barbecue sauce for my daughter. All right, well, that's gonna end it for me. I guess I'm not having tacos. We gotta get through these buns. I'm gonna package them and send some off with my husband for his coworkers and him to enjoy tomorrow. All right, well, until next time, thanks for joining, and make sure to use up that last little bit of your barbecue chicken. If you wanted to just take away 200 grams maybe of the original chicken, that would obviously probably be the best solution to this recipe. But who doesn't need more barbecue chicken in their lives? It freezes beautifully. Bye.